Hello, I'm Neil Holbert, and this is Running Ribashda. I'm here at Boards and Grooves in Manchester, New Hampshire, where you can sit back, have a drink, some great food, and play some games with your friends to have a good time. You should come out and check it, because it's a pretty cool place. Today, we're going to talk about the play cycle. Wait, what? This isn't Magic cards? There isn't a turn order, Neil? Yeah, I know. But there is a cycle of play in Dungeons and Dragons. And you need to realize that even though it's different moments, you will move through this cycle over the course of your game, and these different phases can meld together. Or even be one and the same. That's perfectly okay. And you should know that and be okay with it. Because we have a social phase, an exploration phase, a puzzle phase, and a combat phase. As I detail these, you'll see what I mean and why it makes a lot of sense. When your players are speaking to nobility or the town mayor or an important NPC or even an unimportant NPC, or even if they're just talking inside of the party while they're sitting in a tavern, waiting for the next plot hook, that's the social phase. Now, the social phase can be run without a lot of dice rolls. And that's perfectly awesome, because if it's from one player to another, you shouldn't be forcing them to make dice rolls and checks constantly. You should play that down and let them role play out those moments naturally, because there lies the gold. But every once in a while, you're going to call for a perception check to see if one person notices that the other one is lying, or you're going to call for deception to see if the person lying is good at lying. That's pretty much what you've got when it comes to skill checks in a social situation between two players. With an NPC, you might have them check out a history check, or investigation, performance, persuasion, religion, sleight of hand. These checks make sense to have happen in a social setting because these are the things that can happen socially that make sense in terms of the game. Moving from social, you go into exploration phase. When your players are moving along the mountainside or through the hills of the countryside, trudging through the jungles of Chult, or, if you're in Ribashda, making your way through the jungles of Cretonia down a river. Possibly walking across the burning sands, sailing across the Pelagic Ocean that goes all the way around the world. This is exploration. This is your chance to show off the place setting your players are inhabiting. Describe what's around them, what they see. Let them explore it. Call for whatever skill checks you think might be necessary in that moment, because that's really up in the air, and it depends on what your players want to do. Then we have puzzle phases. I love puzzle phases. This is when you get to watch your players work together and it's not in the hands of the dice. Not entirely. You might have a riddle, or you might buy a puzzle box online. If you want to find some really good ones, check out Mr. Puzzle on YouTube. He does a fantastic rundown of different puzzles and just all kinds of crazy things that you could bring into a game very easily as props to hide messages or clues to things later on in your game. Giving your players a puzzle box and saying, you find this in the dungeon, that's a great way to get them to dig deeper and really want to solve it. Plus, they can't roll an intelligence check to see if they figure it out. Unless you let them, in which case, hey, if they solve it, then you got to break the puzzle open for them and show it to them. Because you shouldn't hand anybody a puzzle box you haven't figured out. That's me. So your puzzle phase can rely on your players' wits outside of the game, and that's really fun. they can argue over what the answer to a riddle is going to be to get past the Sphinx or to open a door. Or if they're really struggling, allow them to make a wisdom check or an intelligence check to see if they can figure it out. Then there's the combat phase. You're familiar with this, players are familiar with this, whether you realize it or not. When you as a dungeon master say, I'd like everybody to roll for initiative, you're planting a flag on a hill, a battle standard, to let them know you've moved from a safe gaming place into a spot where their characters are in very real danger. Combat can be one of the greatest joys of the game if you're running it fluidly and enjoyably for everybody. Sometimes some players really like to dig down into the nitty-gritty of what they can do in a fighter mode, and that can be a great time. Other times, some people aren't that big into the combat aspect of Dungeons & Dragons, and they're going to really enjoy the other phases of the game. But you need to remember that when you're running that combat phase, as soon as you say, roll for initiative, people's mindsets change, the gears start turning in a different way, and all of a sudden, they're ready for that fight that you put in front of them. So go out there, bring your players that TPK that they deserve.